You can find a lot of true wireless earbuds nowadays, but true wireless earbuds with noise cancelling, well, I could only find two. One of them is the Apple AirPods Pro and the other ones are the WF-1000XM3 by Sony. Well, how good do they sound and how good is the noise cancelling? And are they useful for pro audio users or audiophiles? So in comparison with the previous Apple AirPods, these are really in-ears. And what I mean by that is that you have a small silicone tip that really fits into your ear canal. And they are especially made for these Apple AirPods because they have a small filter in there which fits exactly on top of this, and it will prevent earwax coming into the earpods. So that's a nice feature. So in comparison with the Apple AirPods Pro, these are a little bit more heavy. I think they're around 8 grams per earbud and the Apple AirPod Pro is like 5 grams. So also they are a little bigger, and not only in size of the earbud itself, but also the tip that is coming into your ear canal. I have small ear canals and even with the smallest tips it was a little tight. And that's also the case with these charging cases. As you can see, the Apple one is smaller, it's 44 grams, you can easily fit it in a small pocket. This is around 77 grams, it's a little larger, but they can both charge the earbuds 3 times. So in a total you have 24 hours of listening pleasure. And if you want to charge the case, there is a USB connection here and a Lightning connection here. And a special feature of the Apple one is that you can also charge it wirelessly. So connecting the XM3 with your iOS or Android device is easily done with the app provided by Sony. And in the app you can have all kinds of settings like noise cancelling, you can change the EQ settings, you can improve the audio with DSEE, a process by Sony for improving lossless audio. And you can also see the battery status and which firmware is used. And actually there were a lot of firmware updates while using these earbuds, and I think they were needed also because sometimes some of the earbuds were disconnecting. Sometimes I had to reconnect the whole system again or reinstall the app again. So I had a lot of problems with that. But once working, you can also control your iPhone or your Android with these small sensitive plates here on the side. If you click once, the audio pauses. If you click twice, you skip the audio. And if you click on the left side, you can control the noise cancelling. So connecting the Apple AirPods Pro to an iOS device or to an Android device is easily done. With an Android device, you don't need an app. You can connect it like any other Bluetooth device. For Apple it's even easier because there's an H1 chip in here which is instantly recognized by any iOS device. And also the chip makes it easier to switch between those devices. There are some extra features like the latency control, the battery and energy control. Even you can see the battery status in your app and in your phone because of the H1 chip. And all the settings for noise cancelling are controlled by those chips. So there are some things like automatically pause when you remove one of the earbuds, which is not used in Android because of that chip. So controlling your device with the earbuds is also possible. You do that with the stem, and the stem can control things like pause and play if you pinch it very shortly, and if you pinch it longer you can even control the noise cancelling or set it in transparent mode. Well, keep in mind when you use earbuds like this, the audio will always be compressed. Even if you use lossless audio on your device, the audio is sent via Bluetooth with a codec to the earbuds. And there's a standard codec called SBC that's not so much used for good quality audio. And if you have a better codec like APTX, it will sound better. The strange thing is they both use the AAC codec. Why is it strange? Well, it's really a codec mainly used on iOS devices and by iOS gear like these AirPods Pro. Normally Sony uses the LDAC codec, but in a strange way they didn't use it for these earbuds. They are also using AAC. So if you want to have the best sound quality, you better use both of them with an iOS device, because with an Android device the sound will be less. Okay, for me these are the best sounding Apple in-ears till so far. That doesn't mean they are the best sounding in-ears, but for Apple these are the best sounding. I think that's also due of the in-ear concept they have now. They have a solid bass, but not too much bass, and also they are a little bit MIDI, which is convenient when you listen to spoken word like audiobooks or podcasts. So in comparison with the Apple AirPods Pro, the XM3 is really a better sounding in-ear. But also, of all in-ears I heard, these are the best sounding wireless earbuds till so far. Okay, they are still not so good as my 64 audio earbuds I use in the studio, but they have a really nice character. They could also be something like a reference consumer model. They have a very nice low end, very tight, nice open high end, but not too brittle, too harsh. And also the stereo image is really broad and without any holes in it. I think that's also the reason why the 360 sound that Sony created, and which is also adjusted in the app, is working so well in here. So in use with Tidal and with the 360, you really get the image of, well, almost not wearing any in-ears at all. So for noise cancelling, Sony is using their own chip. It's called the QN1, and it's controlling the noise cancelling, and you can also adjust it yourself via the app. So you can adjust it for, let's say, especially in the wind, or when you're moving around and you want to have some control over if you want to hear the cars or the environment. But that can also be controlled by the app itself. So it sees how you are moving and it controls the noise cancelling. The noise cancelling itself is okay, but not that very special. So the noise cancelling of the Apple AirPods Pro is really simple. It's on or off, but when it's on, I really like it. It's very controlled. The low end is totally gone and you only hear a slightly bit of the high end. So when there's loud music, you only hear a little bit of sizzing around. And actually it has a nice feel to it. There's also a transparency mode, and I really like that one too, because you can say that in an environment when you want to hear everything, so let's say in an office, you can have a little music in the background. But also for video chatting or when calling someone, you can now hear your own voice. So it's transparency mode and it's noise control all together. So if we look at the differences, the noise cancelling of this one is controllable. Instead of the AirPods Pro, it's on and off. But here is a very good latency mode. Also, you have the wireless charging on the charging case, and there is an IPX4 rating, so you can use the AirPods Pro in the rain. For use as a pro, and I mean for using it with a video editing system or when you want to mix in Pro Tools, I wouldn't say that these are preferable because there's a lot of latency. It's around 250 milliseconds on the XM3 and less, about 200 milliseconds, and Apple says it's 40 milliseconds, but even that's too long to use it with, let's say, syncing in a video program or even do some recording in an iPhone or in an iPad. For sound, I would say this is really a reference sound. The XM3 sounds spectacular. So as an audiophile or as a pro user you can use this as a reference. But for the overall best experience I would go for the AirPods Pro. The sound is okay, but it works flawlessly, it has a very good transparent mode and there are no hiccups and problems when using it.